And welcome back, everyone, to the week of what if, or who would win. And it is the final day in the week of who would win. And this comes to us, and obviously there'll still be tomorrow, Wednesday, and Friday as usual. But this, just no more daily ones for a little while, at least not until next week of who would win. So this one comes to us from Phantom X, who asked the question, who would win in a fight? Nathaniel Adam, or Captain Adam, as he's known as, or Dr. Manhattan. Both guys are individuals who are capable of controlling things on the molecular level, on the atomic level. Both are godlike in many ways for their power, but at the same time, there's some stark contrast. So let's go over Captain Adam. Captain Adam was, if I'm not mistaken, because I have his information right here, he was a United States Air Force officer, and during an accident, he pretty much became Captain Adam. As Captain Adam, why am I having trouble saying Captain Adam? As Captain Adam, his powers include a Dillistel armor. Captain Adam's metallic shell or skin is composed of a portion of the alien being known as Silver Shield and is called Dillistel. Pieces of the alien's metal body were used in Captain Adam Project, Project Major Force, and similar projects thereafter. Adam is able to coat himself in the metal either partially or totally. Adam's symbiosis with the metal is such that even when partially armored, he has access to the quantum field. Basically, he has access to chronokinesis, is shown to have time-traveling capabilities without quantum jumping, and can travel ahead in time using concentration. The process is exhausting, though, and in the period he can interact with the future appears to be limited to a few minutes before he returns to the present. Atomic transmutation has demonstrated atomic transmutation abilities similar to Firestorm, is able to basically turn both Maul and Engineer back into their human forms, and once turned Green Arrow's quivers into butterflies. The power can be used instinctively or through concentration. Energy absorption, flight, invulnerability, immortality. He's basically, relatively speaking, immune to physical and energy attacks. Matter generation can also create matter in the same manner he creates energy. In the same way, he can also absorb and manipulate matter on a basic level. Regeneration, over time, if his armored skin were to be ruptured or damaged, it will recover at an accelerated rate. Self-sustenance, he doesn't have to eat or sleep. Super strength, his strength is such that he can go toe-to-toe with beings like Superman, Majestic, and hold his own. Superman stamina, speed, reflexes. Techno interface, he's shown to be able to telepathically interface with the computer networks. Anti-magic, an effect of his armor is an effect of the armor coating compiled with his exposure to the quantum field affords him not only immunity to magical powers and spellcraft, but also allows him to outright negate the effects of it in general. Through their use. Self-power augmentation. At times, he can use the quantum field to enhance his physical prowess to even greater strength enhancement, augmenting his already impressive level of abilities. And then quantum field manipulation. Captain Adam's metal skin is tied to the quantum field, which enables him to absorb and manipulate an infinite amount of energy which can be utilized for an infinite purpose, which are solely limited by his willpower and imagination, reinforcing the fact that when realized that the quantum field is under his control, complete and total control, i.e. creating and destroying a replica of Earth complete with life, and its most powerful heroes out of nothing, such as Superman, the Flash, Firestorm, even his own Spectre. Though he has only done this once, subconsciously limiting himself to a set amount of power ever since. Nathaniel's ability to harness energy is insurmountable, manipulating it for a variety of effects, including energy absorption, changing, metabolizing, even shutting down other energy users' powers, or shaping it into whatever he needs. Like force fields, explosive bombs, or simple blasts from his hands or eyes, even firing it from anywhere on his body or releasing it as a AoE wave, either by will or upon detonation. So, Captain Adam is a bad, people always harp on Superman is the best superhero in the greatest superhero in DC universe, stuff like that. It's like, I hate to tell you this, Superman is actually pretty weak compared to what some other characters can do. But Captain Adam also has weaknesses. Involuntary quantum jumping. If he absorbs too much energy at once, he is sent hurtling through time, depending on the type of energy absorbed, either goes forwards or backwards. Quantum field disruption. If there are disturbances within the Q field itself, he can find it greatly. It can greatly hinder Captain Adam's control over his powers. That might be a very deciding factor in this fight. Radiation leak. If Captain Atom uses the upper levels of his power, he starts to leak radiation. If he went toe-to-toe with a being of sufficient physical ability, for example, Darkseid, and his armor was ruptured in a city, he could detonate like an atomic bomb, badly irradiating it. And vulnerable to X-ionized weaponry. The armor comprising his body is nigh indestructible. Minutiae of the ionized apparatus can be lethal to him. So yeah, he is a pretty hack speed. Like I don't like Superman very much as a character. Too Boy Scouty, too like he's too flawless. But even I don't joke about how Even I don't stick my head in sound just how strong Superman actually is. But let's be clear. If I were to actually say two characters going all out, Superman if he's absorbed a lot of sat in the sun for like a half hour, versus Captain Atom going all out, Captain Atom kicks his ass. That's basically it. Because it just said he wants at like full power. Literally destroyed or the Earth was destroyed, and he reassembled everything on the planet, made a new one with everything, including Superman, the Flash, and his version of the Spectre. So, yeah. And I keep using Superman as the example because Superman's a perfect analog to how strong Captain Atom apparently actually is. Like, Superman is usually what people think of when they think of the go-to superhero, like the super-powered superhero of DC Universe. But he's not the strongest one. He actually isn't, which is, very telling. But again, Captain Atom's not without his weaknesses. Dr. Manhattan, in the Watchmen series, he was basically stuck, I believe, in a quantum generator of some kind. Basically reassembled to his atomic structure, learned to come back, and became Dr. Manhattan. As Dr. Manhattan, he has, among any other things, telekinesis, molecular combustion, basically blew up Rorschach with just his mind. He's shown to be absolutely powerful and invulnerable to all physical harm. Even when his body is disintegrated, he can reconstruct in a matter of seconds. It was the first trick he learned. He has complete awareness of and control over atomic and subparticles, and can even see neutrinos, which are... Yeah, I'm not even going to try to go into physics. I was never good at that. He also has he's also omnikinetic. He does not need air, water, food, or sleep, and is immortal. He can teleport himself and others over limits of distances, which he calls the Manhattan Transfer. Due to his perception of time, he can see the past, present, and future simultaneously, and he can see events so teeny and so fast that they can barely be said to barely have occurred at all. If they get into this, I will go over it again. But will they say about that? Yes, I think they will talk about it, so I'll save that. Though Veda is obviously the second most dangerous person, as John himself observes, the world's smartest man poses no more threat to me, as does the world's smartest termite. In addition to all these powers, he is able to phase any part of his body through solid objects without damaging them, produce multiple copies of himself, which functions independently of each other, project destructive energy, disintegrate people, force fields, create and destroy matter at will, and transmute matter, move objects without physically touching them, telekinesis, reverse entropy, and he suggests create life and it can walk on the surface of the sun. At one point, it is stated that in the event of nuclear war, he would be capable of destroying Soviet nuclear missiles while at the same time destroying large areas of Russia. As a result of these capabilities, John becomes central to the United States Cold War strategy of deterrence. John's limitations appear to be apathy. In some sense, unlimited power has come at the cost of total absence of responsibility, and his phenomenal omnipotence is juxtaposed with his growing detachment. Although he doesn't age in the biological sense, his character has changed over time with a gradual detachment to humanity. He subscribes to the detrimentalist? Detriment would be that word. Detrimentist? Oh man, detrimentistic, I think that's the word, view of events, and exerts an effort of choice. His actions are often seen governed by a rigid utilitarian code of ethics in which the correct course of action must be the one that benefits the most. From his radically altered perspective, almost all human concerns appear pointless and without obvious merit. For instance, he does nothing to prevent the assassination of JFK, even though he could see the future, or the murder of the Vietnamese woman, even though she was present. Though it should be noted that he does have some glaring flaws, i.e. weaknesses. Ozymandias basically correctly assumed that tachyons, a large burst of them, can slow his ability to see the future to a moderate extent, but his telekinetic powers are unaffected, though tachyons exist only in theoretical physics. Although it was not seen in practice, Dr. Manhattan surmised that an EMP pulse would cause such a static that obscures the future, hinting at another possible weakness. Okay, so these two face off, and realistically, there's an easy way these two face off. Dr. Manhattan, for those of you who didn't follow the comics, in fact, let me see if I can get the name of the actual series. Doomsday Clock, DC Rebirth Doomsday Clock. He showed up in the DC world, in fact, because he was the only superhero in his own world, in the Watchmen universe. And he actually showed up in the DC universe. And he actually saw Superman, like a paper of Superman, and he realizes that, oh my god, I'm not the only Superman exists. Do my powers mean shit in this world? To which, at one point, he tested them. And the two most withstanding observations I remember is he destroyed the White Lantern ring, which was considered the most powerful object at that point, and he destroyed it, splitting it back into the core rings that made it up, all of them, basically. And he kind of beat Superman up. Now, apparently, he teleported away before heading to Mars to wait a confrontation with Superman. That's where he was left off, last we knew. But, yeah, it's not unreasonable to say that Dr. Atom, or Captain Atom, goes to face him. So he faces them. Dr. Manhattan. Now, here's the thing: when seeing the future, immediately, let me just be chronokinesis has shown time traveling capabilities without quantum jumping, and can travel ahead in time. And he can travel backwards in time, but only through shenanigans. Like, I got blasted with energy. Oh, I'm back in time. I'm in the 40s. What the hell? And he can only travel ahead in time a few minutes, and he can only spend a certain amount of time there, which is weird. And it tires him out to do so. Dr. Manhattan already has a leg up on him in terms of the ability to see in time. Now, in terms of their actual abilities, that's really... Like, at these guys' peaks, I would actually imagine that they're completely equal in terms of what they are physically capable of doing. Like, physically speaking, this fight is not going to come down to a knuckle, drawn-out brawl. That's just not going to happen. It's also not going to come down to necessarily their control over matter or anything like that. It's really what's going to make this... what this fight's going to come down to is their exploitable weaknesses and how the other can capitalize on there. So Dr. Atom, or I keep saying Dr. Manhattan to Dr. Atom. The Atom is a doctor, but as a different character entirely. Captain Atom shows up, he confronts him. Dr. Manhattan says, I knew you were coming, and blah, 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 but, it starts being a dick like Dr. Manhattan kind of does. And, they kind of start duking it out. Or I should say Captain Atom starts throwing, like, energy attacks at him. Dr. Manhattan just throws him back. Tries to basically just dematerialize Captain Atom, but Captain Atom can just rematerialize as well, I'm almost certain. To which, he does the exact same thing. Boom, blows up Dr. Manhattan. I'm going to be doing that a lot in this. I'm going to try not to. He reforms. So there's going to be a lot of back and forth in that. But the ultimate problem that comes down to is, first off, there are more weaknesses to be exploited in Captain Atom, particularly the quantum field disruption. When I read that, I created, if there's a disturbance within the quantum field itself, let's say Dr. Manhattan, who is pretty much has all sorts of control over the quantum field in his own right, then he can greatly hinder Captain Atom's control over his powers. So if you got someone else who has equal comparable power to you in your own energy field, and if your own energy field is being disturbed, then you are not going to be on the same level you would normally be, and that's gonna just take him out in the long run. Because at that point, Dr. Manhattan, who is a genius, he is extremely smart and can see pretty much any form of the future. I assumed it was just his own future he can see, but apparently he can see the future. Just in general. Just quickly just takes off every bit of armor and just blows up Captain Atom, and Captain Atom just it's not stated if you were to remove the entirety of his armor if he would just die. I don't think he would, but with the armor gone, like completely gone, he just completely takes all the bit of energy Captain Atom has and just turns him to dust or whatever, something along those lines, or just takes all his power, leaves him just a human. And since they're on Mars in this case, this scenario, Captain Atom just, and then Dr. Manhattan is nice enough to like send him back to Earth, and now he's just living his life normally again. So yeah, the real thing that came down to this was two things. It was one thing, but on two different fields. Weaknesses. Captain Atom had some exploitable weaknesses, particularly against Dr. Manhattan. That big weakness of that big hindrance of the quantum field hindrance was a real deciding factor, but also the fact that ultimately, you could block John's sight a little bit, his future sight, but you'd have to have some sort of ability. Like, for instance, Darkseid, Darkseid, I think, is someone who could beat Dr. Manhattan. Dr. Manhattan is powerful, no doubt, but and easily can go toe to toe, and probably is stronger than Superman on many levels. But at the same time, he's only technically a man. I mean, he's a mortal, he's a powerful mortal, he's a god among men, but he's still just a man. Whereas Darkseid is a god, and a god who is someone who, if in his real form, would just blow up the universe. So yeah, it's one of those things that Dr. Manhattan is not unbeatable, but Captain Atom was not the foe to be able to beat him. I don't see a way that Captain Atom beats him, because there's no way that Captain Atom could be at 100% power with someone like Dr. Manhattan. So I do have to say 100% of the time Dr. Manhattan's going to win this fight. But who do you think will win this fight? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, though. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, you watch the review, so you can put in the comments below. Let us know. Do a review of it at some point. Ideas for who would win, Star Wars, superhero, magic, what if anything I do on the channel. Put that in the comments below as well. I'll get to that at some point. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you